Obama administration now has to petition Congress to approve the deal. What are the chances of this, given that the Republicans control both houses?
That is, I think, Vibhakshini, the very next question. And this is not just a Republican-controlled House that he should be concerned about. It is representatives in both houses on both sides of the aisle. So Democrats and Republicans have raised concerns, and that speaks to, I think, 35 years of mistrust between both administrations and the people in those countries. They've not had a very good relationship for a very long time, and I think that will come to bear in the negotiations that now move from Vienna to Capitol Hill here in Washington. I will read you what John Boehner, the Republican Speaker of the House, said in a statement a short while ago. Instead of making the world a less dangerous place, this deal will only embolden Iran, the world's largest sponsor of terror. And I think that just epitomizes the battle that the Obama administration will have in convincing members of Congress to approve this deal. But he has a few trump cards. This is a very stringent measure that has been put into place. He will spell that out. He's made clear that his administration is willing to meet in various confidential briefings with members of Congress. And of course, the trump card, I think, in my view, would be this notion of a snapback resolution that here at the UN Security Council, measures will be put in place. Votes will happen sequentially. And if there's any disagreement or any dispute around the implementation of Iran's commitments, previous sanctions resolutions will automatically snap back. And that is probably one of the main issues that this president will be speaking to members of Congress about.
Sherwin, Congress will have, 60 days to review this, and then talk us through what happens after that.
Well, 60 days to review it, but in the next couple of days we will have a resolution here at the United Nations Security Council spelling out the timeline. And as I explained to you, the timeline doesn't mean that sanctions will be lifted immediately. The timeline will be a sequential number of votes in the UN Security Council that will gradually lift sanctions based on the moves essentially that are coming from Tehran. And one of the big issues here is going to be the trust deficit. And this is what the president has been speaking a lot about here, is that this is not about trusting Iran's leadership, because a lot of people in the United States don't trust Iran. And I think the same can be said about people in Iran with regard to the United States. But what this deal is about is how we will verify what Iran has committed to do. And that's kind of what we're going to see play out here in the next 2 months. Meetings on Congress, members of the administration having heart-to-heart conversations about why they believe that this deal is a good deal, and to counter the criticism we've seen from the likes of Israel and Saudi Arabia, and certainly from many members of Congress here today.
Sherwin, what would you say this deal characterizes about the relationship now between the US and Iran?
I think, Vibhakshini, it goes a little further than just perhaps the relationship between the United States and Iran. I think this is a president that has made very clear from the onset of this presidency that he was willing to speak to his foes. We've seen that in recent historic agreements with Cuba. Both countries will raise flags at respective embassies this coming Saturday, which happens to be Nelson Mandela International Day. Perhaps no coincidence there. And really, I think just speaks to the recharacterization or the recalibration of this administration's approach to decades-long issues that have certainly complicated relations with very critical partners in the region, if you want to speak about Cuba, but certainly a very pivotal player in the Middle East. And from the Iranian perspective, I think this has opened a doorway. It has really allowed for them to sit across as equals from the United States, the superpower that they view as having had a very negative impact in the Middle East. And they've sat as equals. One of the big criticisms from the Iranians, which is a very proud Persian nation, is that the unilateral coercive measures, the unilateral sanctions imposed on them has been disrespectful to their sovereignty. And by being able to sit across from each other at this negotiating table, they've really come up with what is a historic and a remarkable deal in many ways, something that Vibhakshini would not have happened just 2 years ago.
That was Sherwin Bryce-Pease coming to us live from New York, unpacking that deal between the US and Iran, and of course the European Union looking to lift sanctions on Iran. And let's now take a look at Twitter, Peter, because lots of tweets have been coming through reacting to this news, and also how it's going to be affecting South Africa, because we're going to now be getting oil from Iran.
Yeah, indeed. I mean, this is a story that's been running years. I remember doing an interview of this in 2008, 2005 actually. But anyway, we're there now, and this is what your thoughts are. Jamila Hanan says that dialogue and negotiations instead of dropping bombs. That's what human beings should be doing.
Jim tweeting, the Iran deal will blow up the nuclear non-proliferation treaty, triggering a nuclear arms race among multiple countries. Javed tweeting, saying the Iran deal is not a ceiling but a solid foundation. We must now begin to build on it.
Jay Railing says, let's watch if the defense contractors' stocks drop because of the Iran deal. Bad news for people who prefer war. All right, thank you very much for sharing your thoughts with us. At SABC News Online is our Twitter handle if you want to carry on with that conversation.